Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Patrick King. I'm a film and game composer, and I'm going to walk you through interactive scoring for games with Wise using my score and sound effects for a Tetris demo, as well as my inspiration for the music, theme, sound effects I used, and lastly, getting it into Wise to work with the game itself. All right, let's go. Alright, so I have my Logic session pulled up for Tetris, and what you're looking at is I was careful to create a continuous sequence. So this is the entire song, but with short phrases that are able to be repeated randomly without sounding sparse and disjointed. So if you look up here at my markers, I have 1A through C, that's for the first playlist, 2A through C for the second playlist, and 3A through D, which D is the ending, for the third playlist. And you'll see in Wise that these playlists are able to be repeated at random and switch back and forth throughout the gameplay. Also, what I did was I bounced my lead instruments such as my piano, this synth keyboard track, as well as the choir and a solo violin down here, so that they can play as separate stems and swap out with the full track as it's being repeated and randomized within Wise during the gameplay. The other thing that you can't see up here are the sound effects that I used and my transitions, which I'll show you in Wise in a couple of seconds. Hey, so here we are in the Wise platform, and if you look over here to the left, you see my complete setup in the designer layout. All right, but before I get to that, I want to tell you that I kept to, if you didn't catch on to it earlier with the demo, I kept to a hip-hop orchestral classical feel for the entire game. So all of my music, sound effects, and transitions keep to that theme. So check this out. This doesn't look like much over here, but if you open up my gameplay music switch folders over here, you'll see all of those segments, all of those separate phrases in the Logic session. So here's the stage 1 playlist, and if you look down here, you'll see the keys that I sent in as a stem, so it can switch back and forth and so on. So here's stage 2 playlist, and again you see the 3 phrases that I have for that, right? So 3 different ways you can hear the same long segment. All right, and so for the sound effects, to clear a row, you're going to hear a choir ah with a flute run. To land a shape, you're going to hear a low timpani. To move it left or right, you're going to hear this rim shot sound. Here's one of my favorites. To flip it, I chose this retro bleep sound. All right, if you lose a round, like at a concert, you're going to hear. And if you win a round, you're going to hear like a tonic ending sound. To complete the stage, you'll hear a crowd cheer as if all is finished. So going over to the next tab, you'll see my events, right? And these are everything you need to communicate with Unity. So clear the row, flip the shape, game loaded, and so on and so on. If you go over to my game syncs tab, you'll see all the switches used to go between the levels and the stages. There are 3 stages in this game as you progress, and the different states of the gameplay, and the menu, the parameters. I didn't really map any parameters just to keep it simple this time, and the triggers, which are very imperative to the game. So clearing the road, flipping the shapes, and moving the Tetris shapes around. Now back to the audio. One of the first things I do once I get all of the wave files into Wwise is to edit the actual files. So what that looks like is going down here, setting my fade, setting my start and end, as well as the reverb tail, which is this red line right here, to make sure everything starts and ends correctly, and so it transitions correctly as well, which brings me to my next piece to show you. So I set the transition up here at the switch container level because 2 of the main switches that need to transition smoothly are going from the menu music to the gameplay music, and from the gameplay music back to the menu music. When I first did it, it wasn't all of that smooth. It came in abruptly, and when the game started, the transition sounded kind of weird. So I had to set those fades correctly under this edit tab right here so that they come in and out the way that I want them to, and will not cause any player to lose focus from the game and stop playing and say, what the heck is this guy doing? So pretty much that is everything in a nutshell from the Logic session over to Wwise. So I hope this has been informative. Keep playing Tetris. God bless.